Have you guys ever wondered why there's these people out here that are making thousands of dollars every single day with their Amazon business or their online business, but they're only working a couple of hours every single day? You see them out here traveling, you see them out there actually living their life and getting freedom through their business. But you also see that there's a different type of people that's in the warehouse every single day, spending 10, 12, 14 hours every single day while not making as much money. In this video, I'm gonna talk about exactly how to delegate stuff for your Amazon business, how to really go in depth. And by the end of this video, you should have a good understanding and steps on what you can do to actually scale your business without having to actually spend so much time in it. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Faraj. I've scaled my Amazon business to multiple six figures in profit, reselling name brand products on Amazon. And I've also helped hundreds of people like these people over here start and scale to $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So guys, the biggest concept that you guys have to understand, month 6, month 5, month 7 is these people that are finding more products than you, they're making more purchases than you, they're getting more output for their business. Sometimes they're not playing the same game that you're playing, right? If you're comparing your inputs to someone that has been doing this for a couple of years, that has good systems into place, you start reverse engineering, right? Every single hour that you guys put into your business, you're gonna start to understand that you're not playing a fair game. At the start, right, prepping your own inventory is good. At the start, sourcing your own stuff is good because obviously you can't delegate something that you don't know. You can't teach somebody and tell somebody else to do something. Like imagine you try to tell your sister or you try to tell your brother, hey, start sourcing for my Amazon business. And he's like, I don't know how to start sourcing. And then you wouldn't even be able to teach him because you're not proficient at sourcing. So the biggest thing that I'm trying to get you to understand that working hard is not the only answer, right? And I made this diagram over here, right? Guy A works 10 to 14 hours a day. He makes less money. He does everything himself. And most of the times, this type of people, most of the times they just end up burning out, right? They say the business model is saturated. They say Amazon FBA, it works. You can make money on it, but it just takes too much time and too much effort when it comes to packing, when it comes to sourcing, when it comes to product research. But the same person that's 4, 5, 6 months in, right? He's only working a couple of hours every single day. He's making more money, right? He's actually built a business and systems that has him working on the business, right? Not actually working in the business. There's a really big difference, right? There's a really big difference in doing stuff for your business, building up systems, teaching people how to do stuff in your business, right? And telling people what to do, right? So your business, and you're looking at your business from, a clear out vision, right? When you're constantly sourcing every single day, when you're constantly, packaging up orders every single day, you don't really have the bandwidth, you don't really have the mental capacity to be like, okay, this is wrong. This is wrong with my business. You don't really have the mental capacity to kind of be like, hey, I have my weakness over here. My biggest bottleneck is over here, right? Let me sit down and let me restructure my focus. Let me learn how to get better at Keep a Product Finder. You're not going to be able to do that because you're spending so much time doing the grunt work. And while it feels productive, most of the times, this is the biggest bottleneck, right? And this really what leads, a lot of people to quit. A lot of people that have gotten over the 200 plus sales. A lot of people that have had success with Amazon, they're not able to do this, right? And they end up saying, oh, the business model is too much work. So I just want to show you there's two different types of people over here. And our goal, once you make a couple $1,000s in profit, once you're actually scaling your business, is how can we get you out of the low leverage stuff that doesn't move the needle so you're not stuck doing it, so you're actually able to stay consistent. I'm telling you, it's way easier to stay consistent when you're doing stuff that actually matters, right? At some point, and this is going to change, right? Like, month 1, the highest leverage thing for you when you don't have that much capital is probably sending out FBM packages, right? Month 6, month 7, month 8, right? It's like the highest leverage thing for you is probably product research, right? Year 2, year 3, the highest leverage thing, right? It's probably not product research. It's calling up distributors and suppliers and doing all this other stuff. So just trying to get into that frame is really going to change everything for you guys. So I want to put this into you guys. Once you have these systems in place, right, all you're basically doing, 30 minutes a day, reviewing the products your VA found, approve or reject them, and just give quick feedback based on that information. And then 30 minutes, check seller board data, see where most of the money is spent. You can delegate sourcing, you can delegate buying, you can delegate replenishing products. So you can literally get to a point in this business where you're just telling people what to do. And the biggest thing with that, and I struggle with this, is just limiting beliefs, right? Breaking that limiting beliefs of you saying, oh, there's no way this virtual assistant from the Philippines with broken English, there's no way this guy can do this job better than me. I promise you he can, because you have somebody that's working 8 hours for you every single day, right? 5 days a week. I promise you guys could do that. So now you're probably saying, where do you actually get a Filipino VA from? Where do you find somebody that's willing to work for your business for, a good amount of money? So online jobs is my favorite place, right? You could search for talent, sign up. It's $69 one time, right? It's monthly, but most of the times when you submit your application, you're gonna have tons of people trying to reach out and try to work for you. You're gonna have so many people. Your inbox is going to be flooded, right? So that's never gonna be an issue. Next, these are some job scripts that we made for our students over here, right? So Amazon FBA Virtual Assistant, this is Amazon FBA focused. Over here, this is just general vague, right? For me, right, and this is situational, right? For me, 2 or 3 years ago when I was in college, I realized I just need to free up some of my time, right? I need to free up my time doing my homework. I need to free up my time doing all this other stuff so I can really focus on stuff that's going to move the needle. So I just wanted to delegate some of the tasks and responsibilities that I had to do in my day just so I could focus more on the Amazon FBA business. Now, right, 2-3 years later, we have people taking on a bigger responsibility. The goal is to build actual relationships with these people so they can actually focus on helping your business, right? This isn't some people that you're gonna work for that don't know it. Like they're great people, and if you get lucky, you could have somebody that's bought in on you as a person for the next 10-20 years. Because I know a lot of people, they don't do their emails, they don't do anything, and that's how they have so much time. So, and the reason why I'm so kind of passionate about this kind of subject is you can really understand and you can really see how much time and freedom you really get back. Because I don't know about you guys, I started this business, right, to get more freedom, to not have to work 9 to 5, to not have to work for anybody else, to not have to be able to do what I want whenever I want. And I seen this as a really big stepping stone and something that really excited me and something that really helped me, get more freedom throughout the day so I can do stuff like, figure out how I can incorporate AI into my business, right? That's something that's happening right now that takes a lot of brain power, but I wouldn't be able to do that if I was focused on, looping a website, if I was focusing on sourcing on Easter when there's so many sales. And there's another part where it comes to that too, because it's like, imagine, right, you and another seller are competing. You guys are both doing $20,000, $30,000 a month. There's a big Easter sale. You guys have the same skill set. You guys have the same everything. But, right, you're sourcing just by yourself, right? You're sourcing, right? You're putting the work and you're finding some products. But this other guy, he has 2 sourcing VAs that he's getting on a Zoom call with the whole weekend, right? He's sourcing with them 8 hours every single day. Who do you think is going to find more profitable products? Who do you think is going to make more money? Who do you think is going to have a better margin? Obviously, right, he has a bigger overhead cost, but he's getting more products, right? He's probably going to make an extra $2,000, $3,000, maybe even $5,000, $10,000 profit just because he has 2 other people. He basically multiplied himself because he's getting on calls with him every single day. So I just want to show you guys how important this kind of is. Now, over here, right, general vague, they could delegate. Maybe you have some work that you can delegate, some busy work that you got from work that can be delegated, that can be done. I mean, there's no limit to it. The only limit is the limit that's in your brain. So this is a hiring template. You guys can take a screenshot and everything. Another thing I'd probably tell you guys is that don't really expect to find a good virtual assistant or a good employee, the first time. Most of the times that's not going to happen. Most of the times you're going to have to go through a couple of employees. And a tip that I'd give you guys is hire fast, fire faster, right? If someone over there is sharing leads, he's not listening to your instructions, fire them faster. I promise you guys. It might be tough, but once, if you want to enjoy the leverage of just kind of, doing whatever you want, having somebody work on your business, this is the skill set of firing somebody. Some people I know, they don't really like firing people, but, right? But now let's get to the interview questions, right? Basic info, right? Could you please tell me where you're from, work education? For me, I really love hiring virtual assistants for character. I can work with someone that's not skilled, that's not as talented, as long as they're willing to learn and as long as I actually like them as a person. Because for me, the way I teach my virtual assistants for my Amazon business is I get on calls with them every single day. I'm like, hey, this product wasn't that profitable, but did you try this discount code? Did you try this card bearer? And they're like, oh, I didn't know. I'm like, yeah. So let's kind of, look at that and implement that next time. And then the next day he'll implement it and he'll show me, and it'll just grow every single day. And the work that you put in month 1, month 2, it's going to compound month 7, month 8. So ask them about their schedule, commitment, the bonus system. I got to show you guys that, but there's some training videos over here, where to source, right? Give them most of these videos, give them simple videos. So what I like to do is I like to give them a good video. So a good video that you can give to them is this 7-hour guide that
over the next couple of
I've gotten so much feedback from you guys with the sourcing section, literally everything. You guys absolutely love this video. I'm gonna make another one like that, hopefully sometime soon. But this video is very valuable. So if you want to send it to a virtual assistant, it would be very high leverage. And what I do, my approach if I'm looking to make a new hire is I'm going to them, I'm like, hey guys, watch this video, and then here's a login to SellerAmp. Try your best, right? And whoever has the most potential, whoever's asking the right questions, that's who I'm probably going to hire. The reason I love this tracking sheet is because, right, we can give them ratings. So we have 1 through 5, and we can get them better every single day. So if they're constantly just giving us ones, and they're not getting better with the feedback, right, it would be in our best interest to, kind of move on from them and see somebody that has kind of more potential. So the biggest thing is just understanding how important and how this could generally change your trajectory of your business. So the next thing I want to talk about is prep centers, right? What is a prep center? Sometimes, right, if you don't maybe you live in an apartment, you don't have that much, room in your house, but you still want to do Amazon FBA, right? Maybe you're out of the country, maybe you're in Canada, maybe you're in the United Kingdom, but you want to tap into the US market. How do I start selling on Amazon? Leveraging a prep center is one of the most important things that you could do. With the prep center, right, it's like you're not touching any products, right? You're going to get to a point where you're spending a lot of times, maybe 1, 2, 3 hours sending out FBA shipments when you could spend more time sourcing. And I could ask you guys a question right now. Which is more of a revenue generating activity? And you guys will see me say this a lot. This is something I got obsessed with this year. But a revenue generating activity is something that you actively do to actually make revenue. A lot of people get misconceptions of like watching YouTube or doing stuff like that. They think they're productive, but that's not really an action, a revenue generating activity. So like right now, right, a good example of a non-revenue generating activity is watching this YouTube video and not taking action on it, right? If you're watching this video, right, that's okay, you gained some knowledge, but that didn't really move your business forward. If you watched this video, you took notes, and then you actually implemented that, then you actually, you went on online jobs, you're following the video as we're doing it, you're looking, okay, I'm gonna get a prep center, then this was a revenue, you got an ROI from this video. So what is higher leverage month 4, month 5? Sending out inventory to Amazon, right? Packaging up FBM boxes. Let's just say you have a nice day, you're sending out 30, 40, 50 boxes to FBM, or you could source and buy 100, 200 units, right? Sourcing, product research, finding profitable products is always going to be higher leverage than actually sending out the inventory. So it's like, how can we delegate that? If you get really good at sourcing, you can eat a $1, $1.25, $1.50 prep cost, right, through every unit, right, because you've gotten so good at sourcing. And sometimes, right, like let's just say not everybody has time to go to a prep center. Not everybody has time. And especially, and there's another advantage, right? And the other advantage that you could get with a prep center is there's multiple, right? And another advantage that you can get with a prep center is that some prep centers, most of them are located in, no sales. They don't have any sales tax, right? And then another advantage of this is that the prep centers that you're sending products to, there's no sales tax. Most of them are located in Portland, Wyoming, Delaware, like these places with 0% tax. So I'll be like, what is sales tax for all 50 states? We're buying from Target. Let's just say Target because a lot of people buy from Target. Or just buying online. Let's see. You've got to go over here, right? 4%, 5%, 2%, 6%, right? Over here, 4.5, but you could send it to a prep center in Oregon. That's 0%, right? You could send it to a prep center in Delaware. That's 0. Montana, that's 0%. And if you're living in somewhere like California, this is a kind of a real conversation that you kind of need to have, because it's like sales tax is like 8%. You're not going to be able to compete with somebody like me on a listing that has a prep center in Delaware, right? So this conversation is a bit more situational, and it would have to depend on where you actually live. But sales tax, getting sales tax exempt and paying sales tax, that is a big part of arbitrage, because with Amazon FBA, margin is literally everything. And if you're paying an extra 9%, 7%, you're not going to be able to compete on these listings. So, and yeah. But if you go back to the core concept, working hard is not the only answer. At the start, right, you're building your discipline. Maybe you first started, this is your first business. Learning how to work hard is an amazing thing. But month 3, month 4, month 5, right, we got to work smarter, and we got to figure out how we can do this and be able to sustain this while being able to actually live our lives. If you guys got some value from this video, make sure you book a one-on-one call to apply for my one-on-one mentorship. If you guys are looking to start or scale or just expedite the process to get to exactly where you want to be. If you guys got some value from this video, also make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.